welcome in to another episode of Untold Stories, a weekly D&D campaign set in the world of Elvoria. We're back with these wonderful humans to roll dice, do some terrible accents, and other people do good ones when I'm not talking, and hopefully it tells a good story. This will be the last opportunity for people who want to back the Arcane Compendium of Characters over on BackKit. I think it closes on the 11th of August, which is a few days after this goes out. Still trying to hit stretch goals, and there's opportunities to create an NPC as part of the community when you do so. Also, you can find the links to the Reimagined Classes, which Chris, Sarah, Emma, and Andrew are playing through this campaign, all on the DMsGuild, and they're all completely free to download, so you can check them out for yourselves. And I think that's it. Hi guys, it's nice to have you back. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's continue our story along the Covenmere Trail, which you lot have been travelling along for the last couple of days towards the town of Sanroi Caar, teaching each other driving skills on a cart and discovering woodworking talents that you didn't know you had, specifically in the creepy doll space. You negotiated with a band of tiny, creepy things, and battled a giant acid-spitting insect called an ankeg. You also decided to leave the mysterious tunnel well enough alone on the road, determining other people's jobs to look into that. And we will pick up at the long rest with you waking up for your last day of travel. Just worth checking, is there anything anyone would have liked to have done during the long rest?
I'd have probably gone through the books, continued reading them.
Yes.
What I would also be doing is I've probably got a blank notebook with me, and if I find any interesting bits that are linked with my research, I'd probably use the cantrip I've got to copy the information across, so that I've got it to hand in case anything crops up later.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. You can roll me an investigation check with advantage because you've got the time to do this and you're in a decent enough setting.
Ooh, a 4 and a 19's for a 23.
23. Cool, so previously you'd just kind of glossed over, read it, and basically picked out the details of what the Jewel Road was. You get a bit further into it this time, and it goes more into the history of what happened to the Jewel Road during and post-Awakening. Long story short, the road got completely wrecked and broken apart, and the need for merchant travel from Merchant Town to mountain cities during a peak cataclysm kind of wanes.
Wasn't needed.
Yeah. But elements of it have still lingered and been incorporated into the road network of the Empire especially. The Merchant Way, which is the road you're heading towards, where Sanroi Caar is the meet-up point between the Covenmere Trail and the Merchant Way, is the large majority of it. Yeah, you pick up that it was responsible for the movement of jewels from the mountains down to seafaring trade and the likes, and foreign imports coming from Caelan Barros, which is across the sea, heading up and through the various kingdoms of that time. You do pick up some other elements, not necessarily strictly attached to the road itself, but more the period of history. The kingdoms that dominated the southern stretch of the Jewel Road, where the Jade Empire is now, were collectively known as the Kingdoms of Fathaline, and were sorceress kingdoms, famed for towers of sorcery that dotted the landscape, and magic was woven into society. And the largest import they had coming from Xeodothras, what is now Xeodothras, and heading up the road was what is known it has a varying few names. It's a material that you've not come across before, but what's known as Arcanium, which seems to have been in high demand with the number of mages in the old kingdoms of Athaline. The other element you pick up, the northern end of the road, the most powerful nation attached to the road was a dwarven kingdom based through the entire range of Rigrad, which is the western mountains that form the Reimagined Valley. Literally, their halls span from north to south on it, stretching along the entire way. And they were specifically famed for their delicate metal craft, capable of forging jewellery that was used for both adornment and for enchantment. And that's the stuff that you would find interesting on that you kind of pick up from the history of the Jewel Road.
Oh.
Is there anything else?
I'd like to have looked quite apologetic at Balrick for only bringing back a small fox. After saying I'd go and find something to eat.
I'll say it's fine, and I'll go out and hunt for some things myself, and then at the end of the night, I'm going to do my usual ritual of waxing everything down and stuff. But...
Roll me a survival check.
Sure. 11 plus 5, 16.
While you're out hunting, you do also come across a very heavily eaten into corpse of a wolf that bears all kind of signs of bites and claw marks in it.
When I return with whatever small meats and game, I come back, I'm like, because we're approaching a forest now, aren't we, basically?
Yeah, there's a forest just a few miles south. Yeah.
I will just say to the group, we're going to be careful as we go through this forest, because go past this forest, because even now I've just seen evidence of large predators. So there could be bears or even bigger things. So, sorry, completely forgot who I was then. Alright, sorry. Got to be careful as we go past this forest, because I've seen just now on the outskirts, we're not even close to it. I've seen evidence of large predators, so there could be bears or even larger in there. So just keep an eye out when we're traveling. Got to be much more on guard now. Seen a wolf turn to pieces.
Thank you.
Very brutally. And then I'll make dinner, and then after dinner I'm going to do my cleaning all my things that I'm preparing for, my sword and my bow and my staff. And it's a daily ritual for me.
I'm going to be equally as productive as everyone else. I'm going to spend an hour trying to braid my hair in a really cool, elaborate way. I'm going to realize I missed a strand of hair at the back, so I'm just going to undo it.
Lesley will spend that time also grooming his facial hair.
Going clockwise, then counterclockwise.
Cool. If there's nothing else, we fast forward to the next morning with you loading up the wagon and preparing what you hope to be your last day to Sanroi Caar and a semblance of civilization. Who would like to roll a d10?
Who's driving today?
Is it Togrim's turn?
I was just going to say who has and who hasn't already, but I can do it.
Togrim's car, Togrim's fixed up the car. It's his. Maybe you can automate it.
I'd love to be able to. 6.
A 6. You're not travelling for long when Togrim Togrim, as you're traveling, kind of keeping attention on the road, you see like a small copse of trees approaching, and you can hear the sound of intense buzzing coming from the trees. This is definitely getting louder as you approach.
Can anyone hear this buzzing? Or am I going crazy? I'm hearing things.
Can we hear the buzzing?
When he points it out, yeah.
Oh, I can definitely hear it.
What do you think that is?
Bees?
Very bad
I guess.
Don't
Set by mosquitoes or something?
Don't you always hear the buzzing in your head?
Do you always hear buzzing, Aderyn?
Yeah. That's just the sound of, like, living in your head.
All right.
We don't have time to unpack all that.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Uh,
we're thinking more outside the head. Can you hear it outside the head?
Oh, yeah, I can, yes. But sometimes I don't know which one is which.
Aderyn has tinnitus.
Aderyn, you need to get that checked out. Maybe Nare has an ear doctor.
Well, okay, well, what does this buzzing mean then? If it's not the buzzing of life, what is... I can't tell what it's coming from.
Does it? I assume it doesn't just sound like bees, because that would be a lot quieter.
Bees buzz a lot, particularly if they're angry.
I doubt they're angry at us if they are.
I mean, Balrick, you can roll a nature check if you want.
I was going to say. Where is it? 13 plus 4, 17.
17. I mean, it doesn't sound like giant bees or anything like that. By your best guess, it just sounds like a lot of bees.
Like, that sounds like a lot of bees. Not too much of an issue, but like, let's try and avoid this bit of woods, yeah?
But then,
Okay.
what about the honey?
Not worth it. We've got rations. Haven't you got wine and cheese?
Yeah, but
But
honey
honey
and
would be a good addition.
A lot of stings would not be a good addition.
Oh, well, Balrick, you're a pretty big guy. Like, you've got thick skin.
I am not going into that woods with them bees.
Why?
He's
If you
allergic
want
to
to go-
bees.
I'm not. But if you want to go, fine. But we're not stopping the wagon for you. You'll have to run in and run out.
Well, can we drive like past it and then?
Yeah, well, it's the cups of woods right there. Because it's just like we're about to go past it. It's right there. You go. You can run in now. You and if Lesley wants to go as well.
Can I see anything out of the ordinary? Like, does it feel like an abnormal amount of bees?
Roll a perception check.
What's the normal amount of
bees?
Very large amount of bees.
What is the normal amount of bees?
12.
I mean, you look at it, and
It's a fair amount of bees.
yeah, it's a
There's
strong
bees.
sound of bees, and
Honestly, it's an unbelievable amount.
Some might say a fantasy amount of bees.
An unbelievable.
I'm
No, I didn't
I'm
hear the
ignoring
bee bit.
that. Is I've chosen to.
My drugs is canon. I said it in Scottish, so it's Balrick said it, an unbelievable amount.
If we drive within 30 feet, then I can get the honey without getting off the wagon.
Precisely 30.
Yes.
So if it's 31, no deal.
Yeah, if it's 31, I don't think I can do it.
We'll drive close to the forest. I mean, it's up to Togrim. Togrim's taking charge today.
Togrim, you like honey, right?
Got that. Yeah, but I really don't want to be stung.
You want it, you want
Bee
it.
stung.
How about we drive close and
I'll give
run
Lesley
off
a-
and investigate?
No, just drive,
Dad jokes.
Stab chance.
just drive 30 feet within reach of the bees.
But we can't see the bees.
Yeah, but
I mean, to be fair, we're only just assuming they're bees.
As you get closer, you can start to see like this almost like haze of moving insects through the trees.
But
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna
I'll
start
easily be
steering
wasps.
further away from that. I don't want to get close.
I really think we shouldn't go anywhere near it.
Can we see the beehive? With
This is not
honey?
an obstacle in our path.
Roll perception.
Could easily be wasps or hornets as well.
That was a 5 plus whatever I have. I don't think it's
I
going to
think
be
it's
a. I think it's a negative.
I think it's a
I
negative
have a
one.
negative
No,
one.
you're all right at perception. You got +4.
Oh,
Could just be a bunch of bees that
well,
don't make
that's a
honey.
9.
A 9. You can't spot any beehives from this distance. But this many bees, there's definitely a hive in there somewhere. At least one, if not more.
Togrim, don't suppose you finished your metal scout for them yet? Or whatever you're building?
Not yet, sadly.
No.
Tauri could maybe, call that lizard thing that came and attacked the ant.
Lizard thing?
Yeah, the big shiny lizard thing.
Did you see it?
I mean, people were saying something about a big shiny lizard. I was
I think
busy.
the only one who saw it was Tauri. And Tauri, I don't know if Tauri noticed much about it.
Tauri don't sit through a nat 20.
I swear
I think-
somebody mentioned a weird lizard.
No, out of character, yes, there was. In character, I think only Tauri noticed it, and I don't think Tauri said anything.
I was thinking, in character,
Mainly
I
because,
thought we
as
had
far as
mentioned
she's
lizard.
concerned,
Never
it was
mind.
just a weird creature of some kind.
Yeah.
Okay. Ignore that Ximori said that because they did.
Can we not drive just a little bit closer? Like, bees they're not evil. Like, if you don't attack them, they don't attack you.
Leslie's gonna start a fire, a small one
But we're still moving on the car.
On the
How are we gonna
wagon.
fire?
on the wagon. Like we have
Lesley,
torches,
Lesley,
right?
the fire's made of wood.
Okay.
Oh, this is wood.
Yeah. Lesley,
And it doesn't
bees,
look weird.
bees don't like smoke.
Neither
Like
do
a car.
No, this will help. This will help.
All right. I think Togrim, can you stop? Can you just stop the wagon?
Sure. Yeah.
I think
I'll
let's
pull
just
on the
get
reins and
out.
stop the car.
If you two want to go in now. I feel like this energy won't leave until you do.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
gotta promise that you'll not leave without us. Pinky promise.
Parented.
Tell you what,
I promise I won't drive the cart until you're
I
fine.
don't trust them to on their own. I'll go with them. If you guys want to stay with the car, and I'll just try and get them not dead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be stung by a bunch of hornets. Go ahead.
Hey, they're bees.
How would
You
you
two
know?
take the lead.
And I don't think I'm allergic.
And if I say we have to
I
leave,
don't
we have to
actually
leave.
know.
All right, you agree? If I say we have to leave, we have to leave.
I don't suppose anyone's got one of those pens of ep.
Okay.
Agreed.
We've just got to find the hive. Can you see anything, Balrick? You're.
Not from outside the woods.
Oh, okay. Well, that's.
Just
That's
because Aderyn brought it up. Aderyn, can you roll me a D100, please?
Is Aderyn allergic?
Yes.
What's the number
That
for
is
allergy
a
to
10.
bees?
You just escape it.
Oh.
5 to 7.5% of the population are allergic to bees.
Almost got maths to death.
we all have to roll now.
No, she was the only one that brought up that she doesn't think she's allergic. So. Okay, you approach the copse of trees, and the buzzing does definitely get louder just by your proximity. You're all walking towards this buzzing, and you can now begin to make out dozens, if not hundreds, of bees flitting between, and there's like wildflowers growing around this copse that they're seemingly hitting and pollinating. But it is a fair number of bees. What do you plan to do?
Find the hive, get the honey.
I've heard that if you don't move too fast, that they can't see you.
I don't think that's true.
I think it is.
I think that's sharks.
No, I think it was bees, and if you hold your breath, then they can't sting you.
I think, yeah, that one.
I'm not a bee expert, but
You just
I'll
got
go with what you say.
yeah. Okay, we just got to pick a direction, and then we will hold our breath, and then we've got to walk like really, really slow. Yeah, and because you're tall, Balrick, you have to be the hive lookout, and then when you find the hive, then I will grab the honey, and then Lesley, you're a backup plan. You can create the fire, and you can have emergency smoke.
I don't think I like this.
What you're a plan kind of guy. This is a plan.
Well, mate, if you say so.
The loosest definition of the term. Okay.
Right, while they're doing all of this, back on the car, I brought out my guitar, and I've just started. You know that old like country song where it goes and then speeds up as bad things happen.
Okay.
I've kind of just got that going on at like the slow pace as this is happening while we watch.
Yeah.
I'm just going, you know, I'm pretty sure this could be told as a comedic tale of what not to do with bees.
Could have started doing Flight of the Bumblebee. That'd be a great one.
Considering
waiting
you
for
are
Benny Hill theme.
attempting to stealth by holding your breath, we're going to make a Constitution stealth check.
I want to clarify. I'm not holding my breath.
Okay, you can roll. You can roll standard stealth.
I'll roll
Block one of
standard.
these then.
You're rolling stealth with, which actually kind of works for you. I think your Constitution's better than your Dex, isn't it?
That's right, folks. We've swapped systems to Honey Heist now.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, do I need to switch RPGs for this thing?
Oh,
I disappear because my stealth was a nat 20, and I'm just going to abandon them.
Just walk back to the car.
No, I reckon that these guys are going to be so useless that I'm just going to leave them to wander, and I'm going to try and find this honey on my own. So I got a nat 20 on stealth.
Yes, am I adding my con instead of my dex then?
You're doing con instead of Dex. Are you proficient in stealth?
oh, nice.
But yeah, mine's a total of 28. So I'm not just like I've got expertise as well. I think so.
14.
19.
Lesley. Okay, two of you are holding your breath, and you're starting to feel lightheaded. But crucially, your steady movement through and intent to not disturb the bees means you have not been stung. While holding your breath and feeling slightly dizzy, you haven't noted that Balrick's disappeared from your trio. Balrick, you can roll investigation at advantage. You two can roll just straight investigation to see if you can find the hive.
That was a nat 1.
You are looking for one of those standing like apiaries, not an actual natural beehive.
I'm not a country girl. I don't know what I'm looking for.
Meanwhile, this is literally my specialty.
I'm looking for a pot of honey.
I have. Aderyn's been reading too much Winnie the Pooh.
One pot of honey in the
I think
woods.
this is intended as an obstacle, you know.
Balrick?
Well, luckily, we have done the two things that I invest at. I've had expertise in two things: stealth and investigation. 13 plus 6 for 19.
Cool. We'll come. You, wandering through, distancing yourself from these two, managed to come across one of what you assume to be multiple hives here. That's just built onto and into a kind of a hollow out of a tree, where you see like bees regularly kind of flying in and everything like that. Should you want to, you could attempt to break open this and harvest some honey. Delicately, you are somewhat of an outdoorsman.
Yeah. I'm a bit sad because I could have prepared to speak with animals, but I haven't. Can I use my harvesting tools to more gently do it to try and disturb less?
Yeah, you can make me a dex check with your harvester's tools.
Am I proficient?
Yes.
Natural 19 for, I think, 25.
You like take some of your clothing, just like cover your face and that kind of stuff, and then just carefully, cautiously, start like peeling away some of the bark so that you can get a hand in and pull out a couple of combs of honey. A couple of you get like a bee sting here or there, but not like severe. It's just a bee.
I'm wearing like leather all over and
exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
So it doesn't really affect you, and you kind of get a decent chance. But the main thing you do is you go, I don't take all of it because if I take too much, then they get angry. You just take a small amount, job done. Meanwhile, elsewhere, these two, in their slight deprivation of oxygen state, have stumbled around and come across what they think is a beehive.
Can we roll intelligence? This feels like an intelligence check here.
That wasn't intelligence check. The investigation.
Investigation is intelligence, Emma.
Can we roll a second intelligence check,
No.
please?
And
I don't like where this is going.
You've made your bee-filled bed, now lie in it.
you come across what you're convinced is a beehive. And you go, excellent. And what you plan to do is just pick up the hive and walk out with it.
Yeah.
What you've actually found is a hornet's nest.
Yellow, stripy, fuzzy.
And the moment you pick...
The bigger the
The
bee, the better
bigger
the honey.
bees are the better bees.
exactly. Who would be... Actually, I assume you're picking it up via telekinesis, correct?
Mage hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't sting the mage hand.
However, you pick it up and your brain is foggy at this point. It does take a couple of minutes. You can only hold your breath for a few minutes. And your control on your mage hand isn't quite perfect. And as you're bringing it down, there's a slip and a... Because as you know, hornet's nests are essentially made of paper.
Also, mage hand has a verbal component.
Yeah.
No,
And it's a... and suddenly a swarm of hornets descend on the both of you. Can you both make me constitution saves?
Surely on the mage hand, surely.
Do we spot this from the cart?
No.
That buzzing's just got louder.
Let me
16?
know when let me know when I bump into them as I'm walking back out.
You each take 3 points of piercing/poison damage as this swarm of hornets descend on you and just start attacking the shit out of you.
Lesley lets out a very manly yelp.
Lesley, the smoke.
The music speeds up a little bit.
Unknowingly.
No, because I hear the scream.
Yeah, that's fair. But
yeah,
you're
smoke.
looking out and there's a scream.
I will pack as much as I can in the bag, and I'm going to run towards them. Yeah,
There's just an angry, and it's bringing more.
Togrim, be
Yeah, I
ready
got
on those
hornet.
reins, yeah?
I'm like, oh, can you please stop stinging me? What have I ever done to you?
And I cast Longstrider on Aderyn, and then tell both of them, run!
Yeah, Togrim, get a tight grip on those reins, yeah?
I will run.
I'm ready.
I'm assuming extra fast.
I will do it thaumaturgy-wise so that they can hear me shout, run.
There's a slight like waft in the swarm from the loud shout before it comes back into set.
You have an extra 10 feet of movement, so you can move 40 feet.
Do you start running?
I start running.
Lesley has a different look on their face.
Yeah, Leslie's a little bit, like, a bit shocked at how quickly Aderyn can move.
The music starts to change to Benny Hill theme.
So much Benny Hill going on at the moment. Yeah, Leslie's mouth is actually going to open, and I think a hornet's going to fly in. So,
The hornet makes an attack roll.
At advantage, it's in his mouth.
Yeah, that's fair. It only gets like a 13 though, but you don't get your armor bonus.
in my mouth.
Yeah,
It's like, it's an unarmored defense.
you take
if
2
anything.
points of damage from the hornet stinging you in the inside of your mouth.
It's 2 points of physical damage, but the emotional damage of having a freaking hornet in the mouth gets so much worse.
I will,
This is just
Hornets still chasing you.
I will grab Lesley and say, "Run!"
I assume Leslie's just been picked up. His legs are still doing this.
I'm pushing you back.
Oh, you're pushing. Okay. Okay.
You
Like
come
these-
sprinting out of the trees. The other three, if you see them, you see the trees just begin to move first, and the sound of animated insects.
I just say, Togrim, hit it.
At this point, actually, I was going to say, can I cast Longstrider myself?
Yeah.
Can you see us?
On the horse or the ox?
Yeah. You can definitely do that.
Togrim activates the NOS.
Oh, like the music's got faster again.
Yeah.
Togrim takes out a canister and slams it into the ox.
Adrenaline shot.
What does it look like when you cast Longstrider on an ox?
Yeah.
It's legs
Down the
plus
epic
grow.
ends.
I don't know. I don't have time to like get down and put boots on it or nothing.
I was imagining just like a needle.
I would say an adrenaline shot.
Adrenaline shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adrenaline shot sounds
You
good.
just see Togrim pull out this needle of like some liquid in it, just slams it in the ox's ass as the three burst out of the trees. This hornet swarm following them.
I do prefer if Togrim has like just low tech carrot on a stick.
Added on to the next first. Just,
The three of you, I need you to make Constitution saves again while you're being chased by a hornet swarm.
yeah. Oh,
Oh, it's a save.
Yeah.
Sick.
7. It's all you guys' fault. I was doing so well.
Lesley,
14.
Aderyn, Aderyn.
21.
21. Lesley and Aderyn take 2. Balrick takes 4. As this hornet swarm continues. These lot are like now covered in like welts across the faces. Leslie's face is swollen up.
Leslie's got those what's it
Kardashian
called?
lips.
Yeah.
And they quickly like jump onto the cart. The hornet swarm following them onto the cart with you. As
There's a brief moment where Lesley. There's a brief moment where Lesley has handsome Squidward face among all those.
Balrick shouts, "Go, Togrim!" You crack the whips, and Dave just starts moving rapidly, a bit too fast for some of you. And it's like, the hornet swarm's like chasing after you, but very quickly kind of loses impetus and is left behind in the dust as you like kicking up the road squall, and you crest over a hill and leave this forest behind.
As we're all catching our breath, can I try and sleight of hand some honeycomb into Leslie's, either Lesley or Aderyn's bags?
Well, that's what happened. I'm just going to go,
What's
well,
that hand?
that went about as well as expected.
So I get a 23 sleight of handing honeycomb into Lesley and Aderyn's bags.
They have no idea.
I told you there were hornets.
Guys, did you get any honeycomb then? Like, I'll check mine and see a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I got a bit of honey.
Yeah, of course. We got the honey
Is it in your bag?
in my bag.
Check your bag. There's some.
Yeah. I just can't. Yeah.
All right, well done, guys. Amazing. Great job from all of
Yeah.
us.
Wait, what hornets make honey?
Wow.
It must have been a special kind of honey.
Can I do an
Oh.
insight check?
Yeah, roll insight, roll deception, Balrick.
I got a fucking 4, so I'm just like, yep, special honey. It's gotta be it.
21.
Well, I could have beat that with a good roll, but I got a 6. I rolled a 16 to get a 14.
It's good enough to beat the passives.
All I do is I just look over at Balrick and just raise an eyebrow,
I'll shrug my shoulders.
but I don't say anything to the party.
I'm gonna telepathically ask Lesley, did you put this honey in my bag?
Well done, guys. You did so well. I think we all got a roughly equal amount, so I think that's equally well done from all of us.
Leslie's gonna I'm gonna look at Balrick with a bit of like, fuck, like what? But also very like ecstatic about the honey, smothering on like his welts on his face. Ugh.
How much damage did you guys take?
Well, I don't know, but it's a good thing we have honey because honey is good for injuries.
What is good is these berries, and I'll cast the good berries and share them out between us three. I'm taking 4 for myself, and I'll give you each 3.
Thank
Lesley's
you.
gonna smush them on his face.
Yeah, I imagine that we kind of turned into a paste and push it instead. So.
It helps. It numbs the lingering sting a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't think that was supposed to be a challenge, and yet I've used 2 spell slots already. So I'm only a half caster, but Aderyn, you can run faster for an hour.
While standing on the back of a car.
Oh, no, 1 minute. Concentration check. I got the concentration.
It's not a concentration spell.
Is it not concentration?
Nope.
So I wasted that. Oh, so I wasted that natural 19 for nothing.
Trust me, it gets calculated into stuff like when you're trying to find maximum speed and you do long strider and haste and.
Oh yeah. Aderyn can run fast now. That's fun.
For an hour.
I'm just gonna sit in the car.
Are you guys satisfied now?
Yes.
Make sure it lasts. Don't eat all
Aderyn
at
sits quickly.
Don't eat it all at once. I'm gonna keep
Like
it
a little morning cheese and honey and wine. What time of day is it?
You're still before noon at this point. It's very
It's
early.
morning already.
Breakfast.
The breakfast wine.
The day does continue though, and as it starts getting on, clouds start to roll in from the east in the direction that you're heading, which is a little ominous, but you're clinging on to the last vestiges of some warmth as you approach. You kind of see coming up a field of tall sunflowers, essentially. You can see a couple of scarecrows placed along the roadside. Not really doing a great job. There's a couple of crows just sitting on the scarecrows. But also, Togrim, as you're driving, you can spot that there seems to be 2 people having a kind of conversation either side of the fence. One of which is a fairly average-looking farmer, slightly tall for a human, but nonetheless kind of just wearing like fairly tough like denim like clothing, a loose shirt, considering it is quite warm. It's just the mugginess is starting to come in, and talking to them is not an individual that you're overly common with. Far more common in Loringa, a large shelled, leathery-skinned turtle. Kind of plant life growing across their shell. A walking stick in one hand, just appears to be having a conversation with this farmer.
They're just off to the side of the road?
Yeah, they're just on the side of the road. They're not blocking the road, but they're kind of like right next to it, so you could...
I'll just keep on driving through and just sort of wave hello to them as we pass.
And just to confirm, denim is now a part of the universe.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm gonna get my blue jeans.
Denim chaps time.
As long as they're not arseless.
Naturally.
As you pass by, you just overhear like snippets of the conversation. They seem to be talking about like the ongoings, and you overhear the talk like, "Yeah, well, I'm heading on to Sanroi Caar. Know anything happening up there?" As you're kind of approaching, just continue talking about that. The farmer's like, "It's a little bit weird up there at the minute. Some folks moved into town earlier this week. I was up there selling some things. Odd types. Didn't feel like hanging around. That's strange. Hey, fellow travellers, how you doing this fine afternoon?"
Sort of look over at that sort of stare of, like, city person who's been talked to by somebody. Just...
You heading on down to the town at the end of the road, are you?
Well,
On our way there now.
Oh. Oh, mighty fine. I'll be seeing you there later then.
Is that the turtle that was saying that?
Me?
At this point, yeah, most of you actually, Tauri, Balrick, and Aderyn, you notice, like, going through all the greenery on this turtle's, like, shell, a small, like, glowing blue lizard, almost like a gecko, just, like, scrabbling around, winding in and through the ferns and stuff that are growing on the back. By the way, there is art in the chat.
Do I recognise the type of creature this thing is?
What, the small gecko?
Yeah.
Roll me a nature check.
Oh, he's such a soft fella.
17.
17, you're not familiar with it. I mean, lizards in general up north aren't that common a thing. It appears to have... It is either magical or bioluminescent. Without dissecting it and doing a full study of genetics, you're not really sure.
are we still? We still haven't gone past, have we?
Yeah, you can continue having a conversation.
I'm gonna yell out. Excuse me. You know you've got a thing on your back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he, like, picks up... This is Jeremy.
Jeremy. Oh, is he your pet?
You could say that. He keeps me company on the long roads.
Oh, what is he? He's so cute.
He's just one of these blue geckos you get down south. Found him shivering in the rain one day and thought, that's not a pleasant place to be, so we bonded ever since.
Oh, that's so very nice of you. Oh, I love stories like that. I love people that adopt animals.
You got any yourself, young missy?
No. No, I've had one in the past, but I traveled so much that I couldn't keep it.
Well, I find animals make good companions on the road, so there's still time for you. So if you're heading to down the road to the towns, I'm sure you'll find something in town at some point.
Oh, okay. I will look out for something.
It's mighty fine staff you have, if you don't mind me saying. And he also picks up his staff, which you can also see is like this knotted piece of wood that appears to have like this blue glass captured in the top.
Oh, yours is very nice too. I mean, staffs are always nice, but
You've never complimented mine.
well, yours isn't very decorated.
Now.
Else.
Oh, no shame here. Everyone to their own tastes for their own walking sticks. We make them our own over time.
Yes, that's true.
So, you said you were heading on to Sanroi Caar, is that correct?
It's our next stop.
What you heading there for, if you don't mind me asking? Just friendly traveler, that's all.
At this point, I genuinely can't remember. We're just passing through there to get to somewhere for somebody. I can't remember why.
We're just passing through.
Oh, fair. I do a lot of passing through myself, so hopefully you find a nice warm bed there tonight and make fair travel on the rest of your way.
Anywhere to suggest for a warm bed while we're there?
Oh, it's been a mighty long time since I was there myself, but you might want to check out the... Give me a second. Westview Hostel. It's where most traveling folks like yourselves and me hang out in Sanroi Caar for the evening. And if it's still open, a good night you'll find in the Blue Horn Tavern. Gets a little rambunctious for my taste sometimes, but you often find interesting people and interesting stories in there.
Did I hear you say there was trouble brewing? Oh, sorry, my voice has got... What? Did I hear you say there was trouble brewing?
Oh, you still got to be in there. Hang on, let me get that out.
Trouble brewing in the town?
Well, I don't know. I'm still heading there myself. You seem to have overtaken me on the road. But this fine gentleman here was saying that a couple of odd folks turned up in town earlier this week. Just intrigued by ongoing events.
You want to hop on board? We can finish the journey into town with you.
There is not enough space on this cart.
Aderyn can walk. Well, she's walking pretty fast today.
Yeah, I don't mind.
That's faded by now. I
Sorry, that was
don't
not
want to be
encouraging.
a bother. It doesn't seem like you have a mighty large cart, but I wouldn't mind the travel company if you're offering.
Hey, we don't move too fast. I take up a lot of space. I'll walk.
I don't mind walking.
If you want to walk as well, leave all the space you can.
That's mighty kind of you. The name's Abraham Dushan.
Abraham Dushan. Can we call you Abe?
Mighty fine.
All right.
Might I have your names? Are you a collective group or?
Just travelling through together, coincidentally.
Company on the road. I understand it.
We've really bonded.
Love to hear it.
You bond fast through trouble.
Some might say we're some sort of travelling party. It's a possible
I don't know if we would.
people may refer to people
I don't
as.
know if we would. I don't know if that's quite a thing people say, actually.
The big one is still in denial, but he really likes us.
I'm sure you'll
We're
learn to.
going our ways and then we're spreading out. Hey,
Don't look fine company in the mouth. You find good eggs, I tend to recommend keeping them around if you can.
let's get going then. You pop on board, I'll jump out of the wagon.
He
Pop on
levers
board.
himself up into the... And his shell does take up a fair amount of space in the back. Especially since your smallest member is currently sitting at the front. The back is fairly packed in. But you just settle in. Like, well, you are a eclectic group. But I'm sure you got some fascinating stories to tell. But, on the road. We can make it to Sanroi Caar by dusk, I think.
I'm just going to kind of tip myself backwards over the side of the cart like a scuba diver, just to make a bit more room.
How come you're traveling this way?
Kind of sides you up a little bit. Well, I make it a habit of wandering these fair roads looking for people who need my guidance.
Oh, you some sort of spiritual teacher?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I'm a friendly face when individuals don't seem to be able to find any. I mean, no offense, but you stand out like a little bit of a sore thumb. You have a beautiful attire and lovely staff, but you don't see many folks that well dressed around here.
Does that make me look not friendly?
No, you look quite interesting to talk to. I'm just curious why someone so fine dressed as yourself is traveling along this long, dusty trail.
Well, it's not comfortable, let me tell you that. When I left the city, I did not think the countryside would be this troublesome. But I'm on a personal quest for personal growth, you know? Self-improvement.
Oh, really? Is it anything to do with that fancy ass staff?
Oh no, this is just for walking and for hitting people in the head if they annoy me.
I slightly unbutton a coat.
He's paying attention to Aderyn, so doesn't see you do that. He just like turns to Aderyn briefly and she goes, "You sure about that, young missy?" And you see in his hand just a small flower just grows out, and he just kind of like pats it onto his shell where it seems to root in to the back.
Well, as sure as is safe in these lands.
Now, don't be thinking that all folks in this fine nation are quite so harsh upon those laws. There are good-natured common folk who look out for people in times of need who exhibit interesting talents. Gives
And
you
you
a soft wink.
Gonna like tell us.
I've reached a hand inside my coat and it's wrapped around the handle of an axe, but as they sort of mentioned that, you know, folks around here aren't particularly keen on magic, I'll loosen it slightly and bring it back out again.
He does kind of briefly catch your motion. He doesn't see what you grab or anything like that. He just turns to you. Do you have anything like... you probably don't. He just turns to you. And yourself, you have that kind of look in your eye of someone who's had some trouble in their life. Anything kind old stranger might be able to bear the load for?
I might have had some trouble in the past, but it's behind me now. Roads ahead, you know.
That's an excellent outlook on life, sir. We should remember our past, but not necessarily be dragged down by it.
I think some bits are happier to forget.
I understand, but it's worth remembering that trauma doesn't make the person you are, it just is part of the whole. And use that to, where you can, help others who might experience the same troubles in their life.
I look like I'm about to say something, and just kind of shrug and walk a little bit faster ahead.
So, based on your accents and varying demeanor, I think you're all scattered from all over. Fancy dress to you. Hints of the southern cities.
Correct.
What brings such...
And,
Oh, I'm sorry.
well, now, you've also got a very exotic accent.
Yeah, well... It comes and goes, I suppose, but right about now it seems to be holding. I find on the road I prefer my natural voice. Around the city, some people take exception to it.
Lesley, I didn't mean to cause offense. Leslie's gone completely.
I'm amazed I've held it this long.
Well, and my voice for now. I didn't mean to cause offense. I just meant, where are you from originally?
Oh. I'm actually originally from the Empire itself, down on the riverbanks of near Harneen. But I spent a decent period of my youth experiencing the interesting roads and tales of the Loringa cities and the fine folks down there. Got some good friends who whittle away their hours on the roads.
Roll an inside check on that.
Yeah, sure.
Just seeing if it's like an accent that I've heard before, given I've moved around this, like, this area of the Empire a fair bit.
Yeah, sure.
Incense check.
Incense check.
Incense
Yes,
check.
I'm gonna smell him real
Smell
good.
him.
That is wisdom.
Yeah.
It's a big old 12.
Big on 12. It's not an accent you've come across. At least not that you remember, although it's possible that it can come from the riverbank areas of Neonin. It was definitely not common in the kind of northern reaches where there's more established cities.
And not too much in the west either.
No, wouldn't have. There's no tonal resonance from the west at all.
Yeah.
Above table, I will say, I don't tie accents to locations all that much, but good looking out. It's whatever accent I can manage that day. Yeah. You carry on. A couple of you share tales, I assume, and he shares a fair few back. He's been around a lot. He's got a fair number of tales.
Does he know Titan Ball?
Yeah. He's never played it, but he's seen some games.
Does he know Lesley?
No.
Does
Never
he
saw,
know-
never saw your team play. He never was necessarily interested, invested in the sport. He was in
His
town
nose
while
on
the
it.
game was on, and it was the social gathering.
Does he know the Bonvalies?
I mean, everyone knows the Bonvalies. Truly excellent musical tastes. Frequented them a couple of times in Tibere and Riverhold, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Mm. What's your favorite song?
Oh, it would have to be Surviving
Halfway on...
on a Preacher.
I always preferred Halfway on the Journey.
Oh, that is an excellent one. It helps me get through those long journeys when the rain just won't let up.
You know, the path's halfway done.
Mm.
Oh,
The
pray.
good news is it's more than halfway done today, so won't be long until we get a nice warm bed and good drink in our hands.
But, you know,
Lesley, we don't have to wait. And he's gonna start pouring some wine for our friend Abe.
Oh, well, thank you. Don't often drink while traveling, but since I'm no longer walking, it would be mighty rude if I turned you down.
you know, I inspired many of those songs.
Oh, really? You one of those groupies that always followed Von Barley around?
No. I am Barley's daughter.
Really?
Yes.
You know, now you mention it, I do kind of see the family resemblance.
I know. I have his cheekbones.
Indeed you do. You must weaponize them with all the lads and ladies in every town you visit.
Oh, yes. Well, not always. I should do that more. But no, yes. I was raised by my mother, but I eventually went to live with my father, and I toured with him all over the place. Sadly, I cannot sing, so, you know, but I can play the drums, and I'm going to side glance at Togrim.
Oh, well, not everybody can play the drums. That takes real skill to maintain that beat and rhythm. I
but
myself
everyone
have
can-
no chance.
But everyone
Yes.
can play like one drum, though.
Depends on how you define play. I suppose you can
I mean, like, if you just have
fundamentally
one,
make
you
it
can
make
kinda-
noise, but whether you constitute playing or simply making noise, then, well, I suppose everybody can sing.
I have a
Exactly.
very lovely singing voice, actually.
I will take your word for it.
No, I'm just gonna keep mumbling. Not everyone can play. Not everyone can play. Not everyone can play the drums.
It's the next big hit. As this...
We're talking about music, though. Tauri's pretty good with that.
Oh, really? I suppose we haven't had much conversation. I do apologize.
That's okay. You seem to have some things in common with members of our party.
You have quite a lot of books there. You enjoy reading?
Occasionally, depends on the subject.
Any particular subject you're most interested in?
History, for the most part.
Oh, excellent, excellent. We can learn a lot from the past and how we might apply it to the future.
That is very true.
Anything interesting you've learned recently?
Things from before the Cataclysm.
Oh, that's an old history. Older than even me.
And that says something.
Indeed it does. I'm probably older than the rest of you combined. Well,
How old are you?
I lost track a couple of decades ago, but somewhere in the 2nd century.
No, not bad.
Oh, I do apologize. The ears do kind of give it away.
No, you don't look older than 19.
Oh, you flatter me, miss. But I assure you, I've done the impetuous 19-year-old stuff already, and it's my time to make sure that other impetuous 19-year-olds don't fall into the spike pit, as it were.
Have you had many problems in your life? So that like have you had to overcome many things and that's why now you help others?
Indeed, I have. I spent my earlier years as part of what you might call an adventuring troupe in Moringa. Doing all sorts of monster hunting and treasure raiding and various quests and the like, and it was an exciting time, but those days are long behind me now. And I did enjoy it, but I think I saw injustices in the world that required a softer touch than the whack of a sword or the casting of a spell. So,
I think that's very honorable of you.
well, I do my best to help those who need a little help getting to their destination.
I'll tell you what, if you are ever in Laringa again and you want to see the Bonvarleys, you go up to the ticket master and you tell them, slippery staircase.
Slippery staircase.
Mm-hmm. You'll get a VIP ticket. Just don't go telling anybody else, okay?
Oh, you have my word
Not
on
really
it.
supposed to give that passcode out so free, but you seem like the kind of person that deserves the VIP ticket.
I
Oh.
desperately try to remember this.
Well, if you're in ever need of a little bit of help, guidance, or pointing in the right direction in the Empire, just listen out for the Siren's Call wherever you end up.
The Siren's Call.
Just trust me.
Okay.
Tauri can roll history.
Slippery staircase, sprained slippers. Fuck.
14.
14. Siren's Call rings a bell from children's stories that you read?
Say Siren's Call.
Siren's Call.
Slippers and stone cares. Fuck, I can't remember.
Can I look back and just sort of like appraise this guy that we picked up? See how
What are you trying to approach?
powerful I think he is?
Sure, roll an insight check.
Eesh. Okay. 8.
8.
I thought it was a nat 1.
In terms of physical prowess, he's probably not going to take on half this group. He's fairly old at this point.
Yeah.
But he seems to have like that athletic wanderer middle age kind of waning into old years. So he seems capable and he seems comfortable being around strangers, that he's not necessarily threatened despite the amount of blades and stuff on show. Well, as you continue and the dark clouds begin to roll in, a faint rain begins to fall, quickly kind of soaking into you, but doesn't overly dampen your spirits in any way. In the distance, though, you begin to see the land begin to rise up on one side of the road, forming a cliff that kind of overlooks the road as you see it join onto a much broader road. Buildings are clustered together that sit on top of this rise and wind down. But the most eye-catching element is right at the top of this kind of rise is a tall, circular, domed building that kind of reaches up above the rest of the rooftops.
Would I recognize this?
You would. This is Sanroi Caar, and that building is the Temple of Saint Gitana, which is at the very top. Church of Saint Gitana, sorry.
Here it is, Sanroi Caar. It won't be much longer until we're here. I'll just keep driving the cart up the road.
You carry on, and the rain begins to kind of fall in as you enter into town. You're glad that your journey is coming to an end just in time, such that you can grab a place to stay, and get out of the rain fairly quickly. But as you kind of enter into the town, especially for you, Togrim, it was much busier, especially on the outskirts when you pass by, and especially with it being the end of day, you would expect to see more people pulling into town. It's fairly empty.
What people are about? Are there guards and stuff that we have to...
There's a couple of guards that, as you approach, a couple of scale guard in fairly well-maintained uniforms that kind of note your passage in. They don't stop you or anything like that. You, upon entering, very quickly see the Westview Hostel, which Abe points out to you. There's probably where I'd suggest staying. If you're looking up, the Blue Horn's a little further up into the town if you're looking for a drink or food for the night.
You've got to take this to the stables. Where do you want let off, Aid?
I think here's just fine. I'll head up to the Blue Horn and see what's going on. Thank you very much for the ride, and if we ever meet again, well, I suppose drinks on me after you handled the transportation.
Will you be staying here many days?
We'll see just how much I'm needed here. I tend not to hang around if I'm not needed.
Maybe we'll see you later over breakfast tomorrow.
If I see you around, I will indeed share some food with you. And he kind of hops off the back suspension that doesn't exist, eases up the tilt on the wagon, and he starts wandering up the hill. And again, There's basically no one around. Like, you would expect to see people wandering in and around the streets. Balrick, you pick up on the wind sound of flutes, almost, and the sound of rain hitting metal instruments.
Oh, you said flutes, didn't you?
Yeah. Coming from further into town.
Raining. I assume that it is raining.
Yes.
Do you guys hear that? Is it music? It's light.
I think it's bees.
Probably not bees. You might have. If you want, someone want to check Leslie's ear. There might be one stuck in there.
I sort of take Leslie's head. It's like,
Now let's just go a bit further into town. We'll before we find a room. We'll have something picking up something.
Something's bothering me because it's super quiet compared to when I was last here. I think you're right. Let's go see what's going on.
Aye, it's quite. I mean, I don't know towns, but this is not as. Kalkurth was busier than this.
Yeah. I can't get in how busy would Sanroi Caar be compared to Kalkurth in general? Like, what's the town size?
It's a similar size in terms of, like, number of buildings. Kalkurth caters to more people that are passing through because it of the role it serves within the Brecklin Fields. But I mean, Sanroi Caar is a mild tourist town with the church and all that. Yeah, you'd expect it to be busier than this.
Do we see anyone around, like a town crier or a guard inside rather than the ones we passed?
Roll perception.
Nope, I see nothing with a 2. Because even with bonuses, that's not high.
No, I'm afraid you're looking around and like you catch like the sight of someone like entering into a house, but that's about the extent of what you see. I mean, you see more rats than you do people.
Let's go. I
many
swear I
rats?
hear music or something in like instrumental further up. Let's just get a bit deeper into town first.
Are you riding the wagon up the hill or leaving the wagon near the bottom and then walking up?
Can we find some stables quickly first?
There's stables as you kind of enter into town.
Are there people in the stables? Is there a stable hand?
There is a stable hand.
Okay.
Say we leave the cart then. Just for sake of moving about easily.
Does someone want to ask him if anything's up?
Are you leaving the cart for the night or just temporarily?
For the night, ideally, yeah.
5 silver then, if you don't mind.
I got it. Well, Aderyn's got it.
Is there a name for the wagon, just so I got it in records?
I believe
Is
this
it still Balrick's wagon?
Yes. So under the name of Balrick, please.
Balrick, fair enough.
I think it's fine.
You just park it over there. I'll grab you some hay for your ox, and have a good night.
I'll teach Togrim how to park a wagon. Like, you with this. When it passes, your mirror on your right.
he just
Hard
holding the
left, hard
dad's
left.
arm over the back of the
Just-
chair, like.
Just before we leave, Tauri's going to go up to the first and say, "Come. I'm sorry to bother you, but where is everyone? It's a lot quieter here than we were expecting."
They're all up in the town square. The rings are having a big presentation, and our town's up there pretty much.
Do you know what the presentation's on?
I tend to try not get involved with them. They're a little intense for my liking, but yeah, some of what they say has some points.
Thank you.
It's just maybe keep a low profile. Just a suggestion.
I do a side eye at Aderyn.
let's go find out what's going on in the town square.
What are rings?
Yeah, does what he said ring a bell at all?
You can roll me a history. Anyone from the Empire can roll a history check.
That is a -1, 16.
I rolled 13.
15.
Doesn't ring any bells to any of you. No. Not even Togrim.
No.
As you kind of walk up the slope, you begin to realise that maybe taking the cart up wouldn't have been the best idea. It's a fairly steep slope, and while it would be possible to get a cart up, with it becoming slick in the rain and the amount of weight that you have on the cart, would have been tricky and potentially dangerous. So you feel like you made the right call, even though your legs do start burning climbing up this hill.
Is it like a cobbled road?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like old wood.
But as you approach...
How are you doing, Togrim?
Sorry, what did you say?
Is that how you doing with
Keep
all
going.
the walking up a hill?
I'm doing all right. I've been wandering for years now, so
Yeah, no worries. Just
a
don't
little
want
slow, but I'll get there.
to leave you behind, you know.
As you walk up the hill, a few more people seem to start appearing, but they all seem to be heading up to the town square as well. You do pass by a large semi-circular, almost C-shaped tavern with distinctly blue roof that you're catching in like the last bits of light. People, a few torches have gone up around town. But as you approach the town square at the top, you kind of find where all the people have gone. A large assembled crowd stands kind of enraptured, a few like murmuring voices of conversation catching on the wind as it comes down. And scattered about, kind of on the edges of the square, you see a few individuals, maybe a couple of dozen all told, with fairly stern looks, wearing clothes in shades of white, grey, black, that kind of monochrome palette. But Aderyn and Tauri, what you notice on them is all of them seem to bear displayed and distinct black ring tattoos on either around arms, around necks, some even on faces. They're not subtle. And at the centre of the square, in front of the domed church that you saw from a mile off, is a tall, 15-20 foot tall brass pole, which ends in a peak pointed towards the dark sky. And standing, orating in front of it, is an armoured individual, a dark-skinned man with eyes of radiant white, clad in beautiful white plate armour. The temptations of the Arcane call away us from the choir. The insidious whispers seek only to sow disharmony amongst the song of her clutch. A few people talk around and applaud, and a few shouts of approval. Who here can truly claim to have had their lives improved by the wanton proclivity of magic users in our society? Really, people, a few people yeah, I mean, I too understand the allure. I too once found a purpose for it. The promise of magic is to make our lives easier. But what does that truly mean? If only to make us weaker and lackadaisical in our efforts beneath the gaze of our great dragoness. Turning to the mystic arts for answers instead of ourselves and our community only divides us. It only makes us lost. How far back are you all?
I assume right at the back.
Right at the back, yeah.
Balrick, you are clearing away the tallest person here. And you actually have a decent view over the top of everyone. And you can see this beautiful white armor. You can also see, like, he's gesturing around with his hands. You also see, clad about his right arm, a giant fist. Like, it's a gauntlet, but the fist is probably the size of Togrim's torso.
So just to put it in context, like the equivalent of a power fist from 40k.
Yes.
That doesn't throw us. Well, that's what I think about, like a huge boxing glove on steroids.
Yeah.
Like the the big red shoe, the big red boots. That, but like a glove.
Yeah.
Should we go through more different?
Let's do it. Let's do it, everybody.
Such temptation has found root in our entire community. The Empire is rife with magic users, and the stain of it upon our very lives. The practice of magic is an insult to the great work of the first Holy Emperor. Blessed in his name, our Empire is sick.
As this is happening, can Lesley? I don't know. Is the link between Lesley and Aderyn like open always?
I feel like I almost always have it open to Leslie.
Yeah.
I'm always whispering to
I
Leslie.
think all Adrian has to do is end every conversation because it's like a back and forth, isn't it?
Yeah. Lesley's gonna be like, Aderyn, don't listen to him. This is hogwash. This is stupid Empire stuff. Not for us.
I mean, they're definitely wrong because magic doesn't make my life easier.
And meeting you's made my life better.
Aww.
Go get a drink.
Meanwhile, this rhetoric speech continues on in the background. You're seeing multiple people, not everyone, it's not swaying the entire crowd, but a decent percentage of this crowd is leaning in, engaging with the conversation, the points being made, the rhetoric, the speech. I mean, Tauri, this man giving this speech is enrapturing. He is, and not in the way that you'd experienced before with that weird red-headed bard, but this is just raw charisma. This is a man confident in everything he's talking about and bringing people to his side. Our empire is sick, a plague that has been set within our very people's souls. And we must all strive to reach the pure ideals of Rethmexiel in his time. Who here will join me? Go on.
So I was just want to say, do I remember from my history lessons if the first emperor was magical of any kind?
Roll me a religion check. DC's lower for you considering you're from the Empire.
Religion. 15.
15. Not arcane. Which a lot of this rhetoric is arcane coded, I will say.
Yeah, I assume so, but he's...
Yeah, the passed down... Rethmexiel is Jesus, essentially. He is the child of the Jade Dragoness. He is divine in nature. And the Imperial line is directly descended from him, even 700 years later. Yeah.
Can I just get a bit closer? Not like just moving slowly through the crowd, and see if I can see anything on him other than the tattoos and stuff. Are there any markings on his armor, on his fist, anything like that?
Sure. What I will do is I will send you an image in chat. When I can remember.
Togrim at this point has had the briefest of glimpses of this guy.
See his ankles.
I will lean down and go, Togrim, be one of you.
That's fine. There's a guy talking about hating magic. I can live with it.
Yeah, it's not interesting. I reckon we should find something else to do.
So yeah, the art's in chat. Yeah, you roll me a. I'll give you investigation, considering you're looking for fine detail here rather than perception.
That is investigation, you said.
Yeah.
16.
16. So, in terms of markings, you very clearly has. You can get close enough to just about make out the adornments on the armor. It is primarily like cloud white, not like pure pristine, but you can see like detailing in black that goes around it that does take kind of the form of like a shape you would be familiar with is the form of like the long dragon form, kind of like detailing around, inscrolled on the side. What in particular, other than that, are you kind of trying to identify? Just
trying to see if there's any markings that hint other than that on his fist or anything like that to show it was magical or something.
Okay,
like that.
no, yeah, okay. So that close up, you can very much see that the fist is not magical. Up this close, you can see, or you can see almost by the way it moves, because he does use it to gesture a fair amount. It does appear to be mechanical in nature, like it has clockwork function to it.
Okay.
Just trying to check whether he was a hypocrite, yeah?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I get it.
And then I'm going to head away. As much as I am tempted when I'm at the back to cast a spell, that would be hilarious.
So, what do the rest of you do? The speech is ongoing and he's geeing up the crowd. Like, there's a few people starting to shout in agreement to him and band with him.
I reckon we have started looking at each other, like, all very skeptically,
Right.
except for maybe, I don't know, what's Ximori doing, actually? He's like, yeah.
More
Like, Ximori is, like, staring at this guy. He is, like, they are barely moving. Like, their shoulders are, like, they're barely, like, breathing. Just looking at this.
Guys, this guy's obviously full of it. Let's go back down to the inn, alright?
Leslie's gonna gently, like, nudge Sanroi and be like, bit.
Sort of blink a few times and turn to look at you. Just make sure my glasses are on properly. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good.
Alright. Is Tauri, are you there?
I've made it back by this point.
Alright, Tauri, let's head off. This guy's not worth it.
It definitely seems a bit far out there.
I mean, you get extremes and everything.
True.
You kind of quietly back away. Tauri, your basic insight, you're probably certain you weren't unnoticed in both your arrival and departure. You're not the most common looking group with your tall Goliath and various others, but no one stops you from leaving critically. And you head back down the slope with like rivulets starting to like wind down the cobblestone streets. Like the gullies on either side are doing most of the work, but it is a little slick as you head back down to the Blue Horn Tavern. You head inside, I assume, and you find it largely empty. It seems that most of the population who are here are currently up at the square finding out what's going on. So you are able to grab yourselves a table and settle yourselves down for whatever comes next. But we will cover that next time because that seems like a decent enough place to stop, where you can all gather your thoughts on what you want to discuss for the evening. But we, as I say, we will pick this up next time. So until then, see you later.